All right, it's here and we have to talk about it. Beyonce's birth chart. If you're new here, hi, my name is Blue. I'm a business astrologer here to help online business owners use their birth charts to start, grow, and scale their online business. I specialize around business astrology because business astrology is completely my jam, but I understand that sometimes you just need to see an example, which is why I do these celebrity midheaven readings to really break down what it looks like in real time to use one of the most powerful placements in your birth chart, your midheaven, to start, grow, and scale your business. And today we are talking all about Beyonce because we finally have a confirmed birth time. So if you're curious to know what Beyonce's big three is, what her midheaven is, and specifically how you can use your midheaven to start, grow, or scale your online business if you have the same placements, then keep watching. So before we actually get into the reading portion, I do want to take a bit and talk about why this is such a big deal. You can actually generate a birth chart for anyone or anything as long as you have the right information. In this case, you would need the date of birth, the time, and the location as exact as possible, because without the exact information, you can't generate a completely accurate birth chart. So, like many people and a lot of celebrities, Beyonce is a great example of what it looks like when you don't have that information readily available to the public. For a very long time, Beyonce's exact birth time was unknown, even though we do have access to her birthplace and her birth date. So you can still generate a birth chart based on those things, but it won't be completely accurate without that birth time. However, with the publishing of the Cowboy Carter art book, she actually did something really cool, which was include a copy of her birth certificate, confirming her birth time for the first time ever and allowing astrologers like me to actually have all of the information that we need to generate the birth chart. Now, this has been a really big deal, especially considering how long the online business space has debated about Beyonce's big three. In particular, the biggest signs that people were saying is that Beyonce was either going to be a Scorpio rising or a Libra rising, in that Scorpio or Libra was most likely going to be the sign ruling her first house. So with the publishing of the Cowboy Carter art book and the confirmation of her birth time, we actually found that that wasn't the case. In fact, with this new confirmed birth time, this actually makes her chart out to be an Aries rising, which I think is actually pretty fitting, even though it was not on a lot of astrologers' radars. So I think this is a really good case study of how the birth time really does matter. Even if you're off by a few minutes, that can change the entire configuration of the birth chart. Now, personally, I do think that this birth time is accurate and it makes a lot of sense when we're considering the perspective of how it plays a role in Beyonce's life. The birth chart is a snapshot of the sky at the moment of your birth. So it's a record of where the planets were at the exact time of your birth. It is a really big deal when you consider the role that the planets play in how they unfold throughout your life in your chart. So let's actually break this down by getting into the reading, looking at Beyonce's big three and of course her midheaven. All right, so let's get into it, diving into Beyonce's big three. So anyone's big three consists of their sun, their moon, and their rising because of the way her birth chart lays. So we're going to start off with her rising sign. Now the rising is a really important sign. The rising sign points to the first house, and this is a really important house within astrology, no matter what branch of astrology that you're following or that you study, because this lays the foundation for the rest of the chart. The sign that rules your first house determines not just what your rising sign is, but also the order of the rest of the chart. Now, with this new confirmed birth time, Beyonce is a Aries rising according to her chart, meaning that Aries is a sign that rules her first house. So this is significant on its own, but it also means that the rest of the 12 houses follow the zodiac order. Aries ruling her first house, Taurus rules her second house, Gemini rules her third house, so on and so forth throughout all 12 houses in the birth chart. And just as a quick aside, we all have all 12 zodiac signs and all 12 houses within our chart. Now, from a traditional astrology perspective, being an Aries rising makes so much sense for a chart. The first thing that is really sticking out to me is the fact that being an Aries rising means that Beyoncé is Martian. Now, Martian refers to the two signs that Mars naturally rules in traditional astrology, which is Aries and Scorpio. So being a Martian sign makes so much sense to me because Martian people tend to have this really interesting magnetism to them. Mars is a hot, dry planet. It's also one of the personal planets, and it is really significant in the sense that it is all about taking action. So wherever Mars is situated in a chart, or if you are also Martian, meaning that you have an Aries or Scorpio rising, there's this natural magnetism that you have from other people. They're naturally being drawn to you. And also there is this pull towards your ability to take action towards the things that we want. So within the other personal planets, Mercury, Venus, these planets spend a lot of time in thinking in our minds, right? They're all about the things that we think about or the things that we are attracted to, more abstract things. Whereas Mars is grounded more so in the tangible reality. It's interested in how can we take action towards making these dreams possible, making these things happen. In terms of Beyonce's chart, this is significant because this is pointing to the ability to take action towards making dreams possible. We see this in her career. At the end of the day, she is a performer. She is someone that is in the visible spotlight, but is showcasing her artistic ability. She is showcasing her musical talent, her ability to not just perform in front of an audience, but also to create an experience for a large group of people to enjoy. And that Martian ability to take action, to strategize, because Mars is also connected to being a war strategist. So being able to strategize about what is needed and necessary over a long period of time, that's all coming in handy and making so much sense as that rising energy for her chart. Now, with being an Aries rising, we also want to look to where Mars is in the chart because this is the chart ruler, meaning that this is the planet that is going to hold the most significance for Beyoncé, no matter where the transits are, where the planets are as they shift. So her Mars is actually sitting in the 5th house, which in her chart is ruled by Leo. Again, this makes so much sense for her career as a performer. The 5th house is the house of creativity, joy, the things that bring us pleasure in life. So being someone that is a performer, someone who is quite literally taking action and bringing in movement, action, athleticism into their work makes so much sense, as well as having the North Node here. Like, it's so significant. The North Node is also in the 5th house ruled by Leo. So for Beyonce, this is really pointing to a point of excess in her chart. This is an area of the chart that holds a lot of significance for her, perhaps a lot of interest. Perhaps she has always wanted to be a performer, right? The 5th house also connects to children. So this desire to maybe have children or to fulfill a childhood dream is definitely significant for here. And this is the area of the chart that is really guiding that 1st house energy with her ascendant. Leo is also a fire sign. So even though it is not ruled by Mars, nor is it exalted here, meaning that it's the sign that Mars actually enjoys the most outside of the ones that it rules, it still does very well with Martian energy. Again, because the Leo archetype and Mars have similar values. Now we can move on to her sun, which is, I think, the most well-known placement Beyoncé is a confirmed Virgo Sun, right? And her Virgo Sun is sitting in her 6th house. So following the 5th house, the 6th house is the house about occupation, health, and wellness. I like to think of this as the house that is the most significant for what is required on the back end in order to support the life that you want to live. The Sun, if we think about it, brings vitality to the area of the chart that it's shining on, because it is quite literally daytime light, and it is bringing attention to this area of the chart. So again, this is significant because the 6th house is one of the 3 wealth houses. The 6th house is the house that rules over your occupation, quite literally the thing that you do for work. Having your sun situated in your 6th house, it's not the best house for your sun to be in, but it still brings this spotlight, this vitality, this area of interest in the chart to the themes of the 6th house. So thinking about perhaps what is it that you want to be when you grow up, bringing that 5th house energy of like childhood into the 6th house, thinking about your literal occupation, what it is that you want to do. And this is also significant because the relationship between your occupation and your midheaven, your vitality, is really interesting. People often conflate the two, but in reality, your occupation may not have something to do with like fulfilling a childhood dream or being something that you have always wanted to do. Instead, your occupation, depending on your chart and the connection between the 6th house and your midheaven, you may end up doing something that is completely unrelated to your vocation, the work that is the most fulfilling for you to do, which is more of that midheaven energy. In Beyonce's chart, this correlation doesn't need to happen, but I suspect that it is definitely there because, again, the sun is present here in the 6th house. Also, health and wellness, something that definitely comes up in relationship to the 6th house. So being able to take care of yourself. This is also something that she has, even as a very private person, which we'll get to in a minute, she has talked about in different points in her career. So going to that, I think, is a really beautiful segue to her moon placement, which is over here in the 8th house, ruled by Scorpio. This makes so much sense to me in her chart because having a Scorpio moon is very much giving being private, being someone that is not going to show you more than what they are comfortable with sharing. And to be quite honest, that's really it. There was actually a lot of speculation with her, what her moon placement can be. And I think that this is super fitting with the moon being here in the 8th house. So the moon loves to hide away because it is nighttime light. Okay. So it does best when it is able to work in the shadows, to be unseen and only really be seen in that darkness, in illuminating that darkness. That's a beautiful correlation to the 8th house, which is ruling over transformation, inheritances, unseen influences. So again, the things that operate in the shadows that may not be the most visible, the most seen by the public eye. It may not necessarily be something that she wants to share with the world. The themes of the 8th house, or even relating to the moon. The moon rules over our private selves, private matters, like who we truly are once we go home and close the door. This is not necessarily, Beyonce's mode of celebrity. She is a very private person. Even earlier in her career, she was doing a lot more interviews, but as she's gained visibility, it is almost increased by the fact that she is so private and she doesn't share so many intimate details as other celebrities tend to do. It adds to her mystique. It adds to her sense of celebrity. Most importantly, it allows her to maintain the sense of balance between being such a visible public figure and then also being able to unwind and to feel safe and secure and supported in her home environments or within private spaces, even within private family dynamics as well. Another thing to note is that she does have a 7th house stellium. A stellium occurs when you have 3 or more planets in one house. In this case, Beyonce has 4 planets stacked in her 7th house ruled by Libra. So this is probably where a lot of that significance was coming from. The speculation that she could possibly be a Libra rising. It's still significant because the 7th house is opposing the 1st house, meaning that it is opposite in the birth chart to the 1st house. So it is still having a large significance within her chart and playing a really big role in how she interacts with other people, especially considering that this is the house of relationships, partnerships, literally your relationship to other people. My favorite placement in the birth chart is the midheaven. It is the placement that holds the most significance, especially when we're talking about business and career. So in Beyonce's chart, she is confirmed to be a Capricorn midheaven, and her midheaven actually falls in the 10th house. Having a Capricorn midheaven is significant because, first of all, it is Saturn ruled. Saturn rules over Capricorn and Aquarius in traditional astrology. I see this so much for my clients that have Saturn ruled midheavens. Success is always something that is almost fated. It's destined to happen. It's not going to happen immediately, and it's not going to necessarily be something that happens overnight, but when it does happen, it is sustainable. It is long lasting. And a big part of that is because Saturn rules over delays, significance with learning how to become a master of your craft. So it is a challenging planet to work with. Actually, Mars and Saturn are malefic. They are the planets that bring the most challenge to the chart. And because of that, Saturn in particular delays granting its blessings because it wants you to learn how to work with its nature, how to overcome those challenges in order to sustain that success over a long period of time. So having a Capricorn midheaven is really pointing to this energy of not only is success being inevitable, but it's also something that you have to work to excel at. It's not just enough to be a talented person. You have to be dedicated to the craft and do what you need to do to have your things in order so that when that success happens, you're prepared for it. You're ready for it to happen. Again, we've seen this definitely as a trajectory of Beyonce's career over time. She started out growing her popularity within Destiny's Child before she became a solo singer, and then making the transition as well from being just another singer to being a globally recognized powerhouse of a singer, right? She is also able to stretch her creativity into other ventures because she's laid the foundation through her musical artistry in order to be able to do that. That is so Capricorn. It's also significant because remember when I was talking about exalted planets? Well, Capricorn is the sign that Mars absolutely loves. It gives like a little forehead kiss too because it just loves its energy. So Capricorn is the exalted sign for Mars. So she's getting a lot of support from that Martian influence in her chart, which because she has a pretty well-placed Mars in her chart, it's benefiting her, her ability to move forward, to take the necessary action and to commit to the process in a way that helps her to stand out and elevate her talent, creating that one-of-one energy that she is really known for. Another thing that I want to note as well, this inner wheel here dictates the decans, which is a little bit more advanced astrology, but I just thought that it was so interesting that so many of Beyonce's decans fall into the Mars rule decan. So Mars, again, is the planet that holds the most significance within her chart. So the more that she's able to lean in and embrace this Martian energy, that is only going to benefit her over time within her career and really help to establish her success. So if you, like Beyonce, have a Capricorn midheaven and you want to know how to make the most of it to start, grow, and scale your online business, and here's some advice that I would give you as your business astrologer. The very first thing is to sit with the fact that your success is inevitable. Having your midheaven ruled by a Saturn ruled sign, it's not going to be something that you achieve immediately. It's going to take some time, as well as dedication to the craft in order to become the best at what it is that you do. So you have to be very intentional with every step of the process, really taking the time to consider what is it that you are best at? What are you best designed to support people with? And what is the business model, the offers, the marketing platforms, all of the specific details that go into crafting an online business? What are the things that are going to best support your vision and version of success? Really taking the time to consider what your vision for success looks like and what are the things that are going to best support that will allow you to create a solid business foundation. Also, getting off of this expectation of a specific timeline for success. Now, with your midheaven being Saturn ruled, it's going to take time for you to get to that point of success, and that's okay. So getting out of this habit of comparing yourself to other people, thinking that somehow things are going wrong because it's taking longer for you to find your thing, to get the support that you need in order to reach the level of success that you want to have. Releasing this pressure is going to create so much space for you to actually be in your zone of genius because you're not comparing your timeline to someone else's. When you're able to embrace the fact that you are on your own timeline and you don't need to compare to what other people are doing, it makes the process so much more enjoyable. And the last thing that you can really take away from Beyoncé and her Capricorn Midheaven is that being the best is not just about having talent. It's also about dedicating yourself to the craft. So what do you need to do in order to become the best in your niche, in your industry, in your field? What are the specific skill sets that you need to invest in order to do this? What will it require from you as an individual to become a better leader, a better coach, a better consultant, a better online service provider that is providing a fantastic experience for your clients? Dedicating yourself to that process is what will make you the best, not just being someone that is talented at that specific skill or having a lot of notoriety or fame in that particular industry. It's about being able to combine all these things and really bring it together in order for you to truly be the best. I am so excited for you to be able to bring in your Capricorn Midheaven energy to grow and scale your business. Definitely let me know how you plan on using your Capricorn Midheaven to start, grow, and scale your online business. And if you want even more support and guidance on how to do this, I would love to invite you to work with me inside of Midheaven Method. This is my signature course where I walk you through step by step to bring your Midheaven into your business strategy so that you can create and refine your online business. All the information for the Midheaven Method can be found in the description below. I can't wait to see you inside and also in the next video. Bye.